How's it going, guys, and welcome to the next episode of Splattercat's Indie Shorts. Today we're going to be taking a look at Delve Deeper, a strategy game by Lunar Giant Studios. It's an oldie but a goodie. It's been around for a little while. You can find it on the Steam store with a plethora of DLCs, but it's a game in which you place tiles which expand your dwarvish mines, and you try and bring as much treasure back to the king as you can before time runs out, and you'll be competing with other teams of dwarves who are also trying to shovel as much gold back up to the surface as possible. On the way, you'll be dealing with goblins, hordes of evil monsters, and also crafty gnomish salesmen. But that being the case, let's just move along, hit the play key here, and we've got to pick ourselves a map. There is a large selection of maps, and I'm going to go for one that's a little bit shorter. So let's go for the Earl of Ego's Banquet. And so it looks like it's got a story for each of these, and there's a lot of humor in this game. I'm not going to read it, so you can pause the game right now, or pause the video, if you will, if you wanted to read this. But this game has a lot of humor. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and that's one of the major selling factors, I think, for the game. But let's hit accept, and we got to choose our team. Now, the team color is really only going to affect the names of your opponents, who actually have some pretty humorous names. I'm going to go with the green team, which looks like it has 2 scouts, 2 fighters, and a miner. The fighters are what you use to clear out monsters. They tend to be real good on the field of combat. They move very slowly. They can carry a reasonable amount of loot, but they move very slowly. That's really their downside. The scouts move large distances. They can't carry very much, and they're not so good in combat, but they're still better than miners. And the miners carry a ton of loot, move an average amount, but are kind of defenseless. They're not that useful. I'm going to get rid of one of the scouts and take a miner instead. Just make a little minor adjustment there. Click the ready key. Oh no! Click the ready key. There we go. And be on our way. And so before you play every mission, you're going to get this little bit of flavor text. This one, he's talking about an untouched mining location, maybe unclaimed, and inform the locals they've been annexed and find out what they've got that I can tax. And don't skimp on the valuables either. The gnomes are calling my loans in. And so let's zoom out here and you'll get a feel for what the game looks like. So this is actually kind of a strange playfield. This one's a little bit more advanced than what I'm used to. We're very likely to come into contact and do a little bit of, not PvP, but some PvCPU, I guess. If we were playing online, it would definitely be a little bit of online conflict. But panning through, you can see how the dungeon is roughly put together. We get to choose our starting location, and I think I'm going to go with this mine shaft over here. I think I like, actually, let's zoom in and take a look. This one's got some gold in it. If you take a look at the background, there's gold, there's little flecks that'll earn you a little bit of money, there's treasure chests, there's monsters. This central shaft seems to be the most risky, but also the most well stocked. It looks like there's kind of a zombie dwarvish wizard. And I thought that was a guy riding a snail for a second, but it looks like a zombie. We're going to leave that one for someone else. The rewards are pretty high, but it's a little risky. We're going to go right here. So there we go. And so we get to go first, and the first phase of any turn is placing a tile. And now we're in the dirt layer right now, so we're going to click over here on the right for dirt tiles, and it's going to give us some options. Now there's not a whole lot we can do on this end, and it looks like it doesn't want me to go this way, so I guess we won't. I suppose we will not. Let's go ahead and undo, and we'll go back over here to stone. And it looks like there's a treasure chest up there. So I'm going to take, and let's see if we can find a joint here. There we go. And so, ooh, 2 treasure chests. So we've got something to shoot for now. This may be a multi-part look at the game. I can't really tell you. And I also don't know if it'll allow me to save. Let me take a look here. See if it'll, anything? Menu? Can I save? No, I can't. So it looks like we're playing this one through, maybe to the end. I may cut it off in the middle once we get a reasonable feel for the gameplay. So let's go here and take a look at our dwarves. We've got Boffer, and so let's take Boffer, and we're going to send him pretty deep into the dungeon. Let's get him into a fight nice and early. And so you'll notice he doesn't jump straight into contact with this creature. He doesn't get into a fight right away. This will actually take place at the end of the turn. All combat is resolved at the end of the turn. I'm also going to take some, let's see here. Why did it give me 2 scouts? I swear that I swapped over to another miner. Ooh, that's very unfortunate. Alright, let's take Biffer. Biffer's going to go over here, and we're going to leave him here. He's going to mine this out at the end of the turn. It's going to give us 1 lump of gold, which if we bring back to the mine shaft, will give us a point up here at the top. And the point of the game, if you look, there's this timer. At the end of the timer, whoever has the highest score is the winner. So it's a little bit of a bragging right game. Let's take our scouts, and I believe I shall clear out this upper reach up here. I'm going to take both scouts, and we're going to assail this goblin so that we can get control of this treasure. And so There we go. And then I'm going to send this warrior up as well. I think 2 scouts should be able to handle 1 goblin wizard. I don't think we're going to have any hang-ups there. I think this little spring right here will heal my guys as well. It's got a little kind of Navi-looking fairy in front of it. If you end your turn right here, I'm almost positive it will fill you up. Well, fill your health up to full. So you'll notice, as he runs up here, it adds that chest to his inventory. Now, if you look at everybody's inventory, they've got a big slot and little slots. The big slots are for treasure chests, so nobody can carry more than 1 treasure chest, but every class can carry a different amount of little stuff. You'll also notice that they've got a number of swords here, which is how good they are at attacking. They've got health, they've got their class, and they've also got their movement points, which is how many hexes they can move. Biffer's just going to hang out here. I don't know why it selected him. I think I clicked it on accident, and let's end the first turn. And so you'll see here, he's going to go to combat with that mob. There are internal initiatives that are taking place. You can see the stats on the side. The exclamation point is their critical chance. Oh, the chest is evil too. Oh, it's a mimic. Oh no. So we have already run into some major contention here early on, and I think we're actually going to lose. Yep, we're gonna lose. And so that's unfortunate. We're actually getting ourselves into trouble. I didn't realize that the chests could be mimics. I didn't get as much time with this game as I would have liked before this review, so that being said, it is a very enjoyable game. The one thing that I would complain about is that you can't skip the other team's turn, so we're actually forced to sit here and watch them all run through their turn. While this will fill you in strategically, sometimes I wish we could just jump straight through their turn and be like, I don't care. You know, I just do our thing. And so now the blue team's going, and it looks like Squall, Shinji, they've all got names, and it's Teemo, Akido. Every team's got its own name. Sasuke, so this must be like an anime-related team, or maybe they're just Japanese-themed, I don't know. It could be one or the other. My anime knowledge is less than admirable anymore. When I was younger, it was quite impressive, but nowadays, not so much. Not so much. And different dungeons are different difficulties. It doesn't really have a rating on the dungeons, but you'll notice pretty quickly as you cycle through that some are much more difficult than others. One thing that I am glad about is it looks like the other teams are running into the same amount of problems that we're going to be running into. So hopefully blue team will suffer a massive setback right here, just like we did. At least we managed to kill one of our monsters too, is the thing that works in our favor. So at least one of them is dead. And it looks like Red's probably going to lose a guy now too. God, there are a lot of bad guys down here. I think those are dark dwarves. I don't really know what those are called. And you'll notice the king likes to chide you and put his kind of nasty input in on everything. When you defeat a monster, they do drop loot. And so... Wait, where did the monsters go up here? We did lose a dwarf. We lost 2 dwarves, as I recall. And so we've got the opportunity to build another tunnel, which we're going to take. And we're in the stone layer. It looks like there's a dragon right there. I'm not going to do that. One of the big things that you can do in this game is you can actually sabotage your enemies. And looking at his position, you can actually lay your tile so that he gets attacked. And so I would like to do that. Red doesn't look like they have any problems at the moment. But red will have further problems very soon. So maybe I'll just place... Yeah, I think I'll just stall for a minute. I don't really want to go into combat with a dragon just yet. Is that... Oop, did I do the wrong one? I may have done the wrong one. Let's see here. Sometimes the pieces aren't very well explained. That's another thing that I would like to bring up, is sometimes the pieces don't necessarily, like, you would assume that that would fit right there, wouldn't you? And it doesn't want to. It doesn't want to. We would also assume that this piece would work right here. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to work either. Let's run through, and it probably wants that piece. Yep. So sometimes your hand is forced in what you can place, and it looks like we've got some gems there. Those are worth a little bit more. The game basically doesn't like you depositing dead ends, I guess is what I would say. Biffer's got a handful of treasure up here, so I'm going to send him up to this top row to pick up what the Mimic dropped, and he's also going to start mining out this wall. Boffer is right here. Let's send him down into that pit right there, and I left some gold on the ground. I'll grab that on my way out in a minute. Bomber has himself a treasure chest and some gold laying on the ground. Why he's not picking it up, I'm not really completely sure, but that's fine. And Balin and Thorin appear to be on the ground. So I guess our team is Lord of the Rings themed. So we are Hobbit themed. And so let's end our turn, I suppose. You can heal your dwarves by sending them back to the minecart. That's also when they dump off treasure. I forgot to mention that completely. Or I may have said it, but let's end our second turn here. and we'll see how it goes. We're a little behind at the moment. We're not doing so well. That sneak attack by that mimic sabotaged us pretty heavily. Skinny Pete, One-Eyed Bob, Down and Dirty, Slim. So they've all got kind of gangster names, I guess. Alright, it looks like they're going to come down and contend with those goblins, get them cleared out of the way. Unfortunately, they decided to mob up. Unfortunately for us, fortunately for them. And Cloud, Akito, and Squall look like they're going to get themselves into trouble. I don't think they'll be able to handle this combat. This is actually a pretty nasty little combat grouping. You can see their health dropping on each side. As I was saying, this exclamation point is their crit chance. The swords are either their attack power or their initiative. I don't really remember. It's probably their attack power. The turns take place based on internal initiative rolls. Oh, he did manage to win. What do you know? And it looks like they just totally oh no. And it looks like the monsters are coming for us. I actually didn't expect the monsters to come and actually hunt us, so I'm not so good at this game. As I said, I didn't get as much hands-on time as I would have preferred with this one. Bomber looks like he has enough health to where he's going to be able to take these guys out, so it's alright. I guess they're called MOSFETs. I don't really know what a MOSFET is. Good, and everybody's back on their feet. Let's take a look and see what we can dig at the moment. I don't think the dragon's going to come after us. Hopefully. There's a grouping of gnomes down here. That's a gnomish bank. The gnomish bank acts just like your minecart. So you can go there and you can cash in on whatever relics, treasure chests, and gold you have, but they charge you a -2 gold fee. I think we're in the stone layer still. So let's see if we can put a stone line in right there. There we go. Ooh, there's a nice chest over there and a big ol' vein of gems. So we're going to try and head in that direction. What's the health looking like on all these guys? It is looking absolutely abysmal. So let's send them back to the mining cart. Unfortunately, that's going to cost us a little bit of time in the long run. I probably should have had him pick up treasure on the way so this wasn't an abject waste. And no, I don't want you to stop in mine. I want you to head right back to there so you can heal at the end of the turn. There we go. And so this dwarf right here, Boffer, I'm going to have him... Yikes. We've got a lot of mobs heading straight for us. And so I'm tempted. I'm sorely tempted, but we'll leave him there for now. Oops, I clicked on accident. Well, we'll pick up the gold that's right there. Let's take him and we'll walk him back to this spring. I think this is going to allow him to get healed. I'm not positive. We'll also bring this dwarf back to here and end our turn. So it looks like we're going to grab a little gold there. At least they're dropping something off. So we're in the lead with a miserly, a terrible, an iota of gold. A very slim amount of actual gemstones. And it looks like our opponents decided to be smart with this whole thing, and they decided to roll through as a group. In general, as I've been playing through the game, it seems like rolling through with a group is the safest way to take care of business. Now, I tend to spread out. This mine shaft is not really going to allow us the opportunity to do that. It's a little bit tighter than what I'm used to. These mine shafts are compact. Some of the maps are very kind of empty and wide open, so it's much more open to sandbox gameplay. This one seems like it's pipelining us a little differently. And this guy looks like he deals crazy damage. That AoE's gonna pile it. I mean, they're gonna win. They're gonna win, but he's definitely making them pay for it. They're gonna have to make a run back to the surface pretty soon. And, oh good, we're getting attacked by that guy. And even more combat. And so this is really what I would describe as the major downfall of the game, is that you have to watch everyone else resolve their combat, which is lame. I wish that we could just skip through it. I've looked through the options, and I may just be ignorant, so don't take my word for it. If you decide to purchase the game, definitely run through the options, do a little Google foo. There may be somewhere you can disable it in the options. I haven't really played around with the customization just yet. That would be just something that I would like to modify, but unfortunately it's too late for me. Yes, I was right. So they are all healed up now. Let's take our scouts. And actually, never mind. It wants us to place a block first, so we'll do that first. Looks like there's a big old pile of relics down in here, and also it looks like there's a beholder's hoard down in there. A beholder's hoard is the same thing as the gnomish bank. There's really no difference between the two. Just to make clear, and that's not going to work for what I want. I think I need a three-sided one to do this. Let's see if we can get this to work out. Do some puzzling here. Like that, maybe? Will that work? No? That one's not going to line up properly. Let's see if there's one that's more trigonal, I guess. Let's see here. Like that, maybe? Will that work? No? That won't work? Alright, we may have to just pick a direction here. I'm going to pick downward, since that seems to be where all the better treasure's at. So we'll just go with a down, down, doobie-doo, down, down. Go that way. and come back and let's arrange for our turn. So this dwarf is actually pretty beat up. We're going to have him pick up the last of that treasure. Oh, there's even more sitting over there. And we're going to send him back to the minecart to dump off his, well, he actually gained his treasure quite legally, so we haven't stolen from other dwarves. If you do get into fights with other dwarves, you can steal from them. That is an aspect of the game, so PvP is encouraged when playing against your friends. Let's dogpile on this guy. Actually, I'll send him back right now. He's pretty full up on treasure. He's full. Let's send him out to here as well to fight with that guy. He's going to AoE on us, so I really don't know if it's better to send 1 or 2 units against him. And hopefully this warrior can get to him as well. After they knock him out of the way, they are going to end on this gem mine, but this little 1x right here means that we can only mine it once. So unfortunately, 2 of these guys are going to go home empty-handed, and the other one is going to grab the gems. And so let's do it. Oh, he's got a pretty high crit chance too. Luckily we took care of business there. My dwarves managed to not get themselves into too much of a rowdy how. And it says we've brought back a treasure chest, and so we've discovered a weapon of some value, Pegleg Oleg's Peg. And Pegleg Oleg is now known as Pegleg No Leg. And so it was worth 7 gold. It increased our attack power by 5, so that's actually going to help us out in the long run. Some of the items are booby traps, so sometimes you'll bring back crappy items like a booby trapped spellbook, and it'll have humorous text in that as well, but it'll actually nerf you. So there's different ranges of treasure. It compiles them all into a sort of treasure encyclopedia. When you log into the game, there's kind of a dwarfopedia where you can look and see all the treasures you've gathered through all of your games, and it allows you to just take a look, read the text, and get used to everything that's in the game. There is a lot of content here. Being super honest with you guys, there is a lot of things to contend with. You're going to be beating your head against a lot of new gameplay mechanics. There's not a huge learning curve, which works to this game's benefit. There is, however, a lot of luck involved with some of it. The game is skill-based, but on the other hand, I feel like sometimes luck plays against you, but it seems to be just the right amount of luck. Sometimes you lose based on luck, but I think I've only lost based on luck like 2 or 3 times. So in the long run, the game seems to work out pretty well on a skill versus luck factor. We're back to our 5th turn here. I'm probably going to play for another 5 minutes or so just to give you a feel for the flow of the game, and then I will cut this one out. But for now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go through our dwarves one by one. So Biffer, let's send him down to finish off that vein down here. Boffer, we're going to send him back because he is all full up, although I would love for him to grab a treasure chest before we send him back. I don't think it's going to be an option, so let's get Boffer on his merry way. Oh, the other thing I was going to mention is if you end your turn in a blank space, you see these lanterns that are hanging? These actually are placed by your dwarves, and if the area is illuminated, monsters can't spawn behind you, so bear that in mind. Sometimes it's worth stopping in the middle of an area just for the pure purposes of what is going on here. Just for the pure purposes of placing those lanterns so that monsters don't spawn in your tunnel. And so he's back at base. Bomber we're gonna need over here. Let's take Bomber, and he's gonna drop right here so that he gets that 2nd gold. He could only go this far anyways, so the strategy with him is just to leave him in the right spot. And I've got 2 of these guys who are fit to fight. Oh, never mind. He's full up as well. So let's send him back. 1 scout has no chance in hell against a dragon or a worm. So I'm going to take him. Let's run him up here to grab that treasure, and then have him also finish off this vein over here. And so we'll end our turn. And let's see what the other dwarves in our... You might make your quota after all. This is seeming strangely bureaucratic. Every job I've ever worked has had some quota involved with it, and it just seems to add stress to the whole thing. But dwarves can have quotas. They go on crazy adventures and have Scottish accents and amazing beards, so I guess that enables them to have quotas. Ooh, and they decided to drop off with the Gnomish Bank, but it didn't allow them to catch up to us, so we're still in the lead. Team Timo is now taking a look around, and it looks like they haven't managed to get themselves below the stone layer so far. There's their first treasure as far as I know right there. And so I think we're in a pretty good spot to bring this home and win it if we were to complete the game. However, that would probably take us an hour or so. This game does have longevity. Some of the longer maps with 25 to 30 turns can take you up to an hour and a half, 2 hours. This one would very likely, this one would probably very likely take you about an hour. So playtime, before you sit down to dedicate to this game, just realize it's going to take you in at least an hour to get anything done. And I think we're actually into the deep layer right here. So let's go back. And the deep layer is this green stone. Now this is where all the best treasure is going to show up. So you're trying to get there. So you see this chest right here? This is a rather kingly chest that we want to start working our way towards to see what we can get out of it. That scout's going to finish off up there. Let's send this dwarf to get into a fight with that dragon. He's at full health. He doesn't have a whole lot of treasure on board, so I don't think we have a lot to lose there. I'm also going to send the miner over here. He's only going to be of minor help, but he's still going to add something to the combat. That gent can't seem to make it. Oh no, but I think I was trying to get him to drop off anyways. Balin's finishing off over there, and I think the scout can make it over here. So I think between the three of them, they should be able to handle that green dragon. So we'll end our 6th turn, and hopefully things go according to plan. The dragon does AoE as far as I know. So he may actually end up doing a lot of damage to us, but the bonus attack power that we're getting from some of the treasures that we brought back, actually it may only be buffing him, the guy that brought it back, now that I think about it. Yeah, it's only going to affect him. In the long run, it's only going to affect that dwarf. So I rescind my early, oh, they hit another mimic, that's good. I really do enjoy cackling at the misfortunes of my opponents in this game. You'll notice that it happens to you too as you go through. Watching your opponents get their viscera torn out in a myriad of ways by your less than... Oh, I think he made a run for that chest that was right underneath us. So the enemy is conniving. They will make a run for things, so you got to keep an eye on them. You can't fight with them, though. I was hoping we would get into at least some PvP, PvCPU before I ended this video, but we may not get to it. Team Timo looks like they're making a run for the bank down there, and so that's going to place them in a reasonable place to try and catch up from behind. But for the record, I think we've got a pretty good lead right now. As you get deeper and deeper down into the dungeon, it's going to get tougher to get back to the mine shaft, and so that's kind of the temptation involved with using these dwarvish banks, or these gnomish banks, and these beholder hordes. Let's connect... I don't see a lot of treasure. Let's go... Let me actually, first and foremost, let's see if Red came down here. They did. They tried to snag that treasure chest. So let's make a sprint for Red and see if we can rob him in just a minute, just to show off the PvP system. And once we do that, we'll break this video off. So I don't want to do that. Undo. I think this is the deep layer. There we go. And so we'll build one right there just for the shiggles. And where is Red at? There he is. So let's go down here. Let's get him. And so we're going to bring a dwarf down here and try and rob this dwarf who just stole a treasure chest from us, because that's not cool. That is not cool. That was our treasure. It's clearly in our territory. He crossed the train tracks on the wrong side of the hood, and so now he is just in for it. And so let's grab all that treasure from the ground right there, because there was a pretty substantial stack, and then dogpile on the red guy. Take him out. There we go. Arrgh. Which I assume is dwarvish for on guard. Arrgh. He's going to run out here and grab this possibly, and then run back as far as he can, because I don't want him to fight with that kind of evil dwarf right there. And let's end this turn. We'll see how the combat goes. And I can almost guarantee you we're going to beat up one eye. He's got one eye. I mean, how good at fighting could he be with a single eye? And down he goes. And so his treasure is now our treasure, and we will use it to buy drugs. Anyways, so I hope from this indie short you've gotten a feel for the way the game goes through. So let's talk about this in a review sense. Graphically, I think the game has a great approach to the aesthetics. Overall, it all appears pixelated, hand-drawn, and quite classic. It actually reminds me of some of the old games I used to play for the Super Nintendo and for the PlayStation, where it looks delightfully nice. These sound effects are nothing to write home about. They work. They're clinks, clanks, binks, and bonks, as always. And honestly, in my time reviewing, it's very rare that I come across a game that has sound effects that just stand out as being ridiculously amazing. On the gameplay side, I think you'll find a lot of replay value here. Every single map plays differently, and additionally, every single round on every single map is going to play differently. There is a huge grip of open source material for this game, so there are player-created items, and there's also a number of DLCs that add like hundreds of random items that you can find in treasure chests to bring back to the surface, all of which have different descriptions, different jokes written about them, and so forth. Now, if you're looking to play this game, I would say that it's definitely worth it if you're into strategy. If you're into strategy, the game is very cheap. It's very available on Steam. I'll put the page down below, and you should definitely check it out. I can't really think of any group of people that might not like this game. Honestly, I think this game would be pretty fun for just about anyone. If you're into tabletop games, if you're into turn-based strategy, if you're into rotational hex-based games, all of the above. I think this game has a lot to offer. It's a lot of fun, and I definitely recommend you pick it up. At its price point, which I believe is around $4.99, it's pretty much a steal. You'll get a lot of gameplay out of it. I've had it sitting in my inventory for a while. I've played several hours of it, had enough fun to where I definitely wanted to show it off in a review. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave me a comment down below, and this has been another episode of Splattercat's Indie Shorts. This was Delve Deeper by Lunar Giant Studios. I hope you'll decide to pick it up and support the developer because it is quite a good game, and I will see you guys next time. Take care out there, everybody.